Okay, very good morning, children. We have finished ISLM model. I already told you that post-Keynesian model is, rather very significant. Study properly about ISLM model, practice the diagram, learn it. Today we are going to deal with stagflation. Post-Keynesian, everything is new to you. So we will go step by step. Okay, 1 minute, let me bring this down, otherwise. Okay. See, this term itself is new to you. What do you mean by stagflation? That is the question. The meaning, okay, of stagflation. आपने सुना है inflation, आपने सुना है deflation. This is known as stagflation. Okay, so be careful with stagflation. It is not clear means ask to me. Stagflation refers to an economic situation where unemployment and inflation coexist. Okay, I'm taking here and writing. It's a situation where unemployment and inflation, they are coexisting. Children, try to understand. Stagflation, that flation, that part is relating to inflation. You know, inflation means increase in price, that you are aware. So generally during the period of inflation, we believe that unemployment will be less, generally. Because inflation, high price, which leads to increase in, like profit, increase in production. So employment will also increase. But it is a peculiar situation where, this is the main thing. Economic growth is low. Children, stagflation is characterized by low economic growth. Low economic growth means GDP growth will be low, and increasing unemployment and high rate of inflation. I will get back to you. This stagflation is attributed by, MacLeod, a British parliamentarian who coined this phrase during his speech delivered in 1965. So 1965 में British Parliament में, how we are calling MP in India, like that British parliamentarian, he has developed this particular phrase. This phrase is known as stagflation. So the objective, what you can expect here is, who has coined the phrase stagflation? It is Lion MacLeod. You have to remember that word, MacLeod. He was a British parliamentarian, that is 1965. USA suffered from stagflation in 1970. GDP has reduced and inflation remained high. Now I am taking you back here. Stagflation ka characteristics kya hai? This is the main characteristics. GDP become less. GDP become less means economic growth become less. Okay, economic growth become less. Then unemployment is high. Inflation is high. These are the four characteristics that you have to remember for stagflation. And this has happened in Britain. This has happened in US also. So what is happening? Because of the high inflation, okay, as I told you, unemployment is increasing, and the impact is on economic growth. Economic growth we popularly measure by GDP, that is falling down. So economic growth is falling down, and the inflation is high. It's a very dangerous phenomenon. Growth is stagnant, we will say, or the growth is coming down. When the economic growth is coming down and inflation is high, children, it is not a comfortable state. Please remember that. So we are repeating. What are the characteristics of stagflation? What did you understand? Tell me. What are the 4 characteristics of stagflation? बोलो बच्चे लोग. What is the first characteristics of stagflation? What about GDP? GDP का full form क्या है? जल्दी बोलो. नहीं तो 1 minute. What is the full form? क्या लिखा है देखता है.
Gross domestic product.
Gross domestic product.
Very good, children. You have written in chat box also gross domestic product that is decreasing. So this GDP is intimating or it is showing the economic growth. This GDP is showing economic growth. Economic growth is becoming less. When economic growth is becoming less, unemployment is high. When unemployment is high, inflation is also high. That is the meaning of it. So 3 characteristics. क्या है? First characteristics, inflation is high. Please make it very clear. When inflation is high, unemployment is increasing and the growth rate is also less. And this term was coined by, MacLeod, a British parliamentarian in 1965, and US also suffered from stagflation in 1970. So when somebody asks you about stagflation, what will come in your mind? 2 points should come in your mind. GDP is less, inflation is high. 2 opposite forces. GDP is less and inflation is high. Ye dekho, this diagram. We will be here, you have to be very careful. I will show you this diagram, then we will draw that. Ye dekhiye aap. Here what is important is, economic growth is coming down and inflation is high. These are the 2 points. How do you understand that? This AS, I will draw this diagram. AS, that is aggregate supply. Okay, aggregate supply is showing the total goods and services produced in the country. Aggregate supply. Aggregate supply means this is the aggregate demand. एक ही लाइन है, मैं उसके ऊपर ड्रॉ किया गया aggregate demand. A point पर ADS is equivalent to ASF. ये देखो आप. इधर price is OP. You can see here. Price is OP. Then aggregate supply पीछे जाता है देखो. This is the crucial point. ये देखो आप. When ADS is equivalent to ASF at point E, ये देखो. This is the, here we are showing the income. Okay, this is the growth rate. So it is ON. ये देखो आप. And इधर aggregate supply पीछे जाता है. That is GDP become less. इसलिए वो पीछे जाता है देखो. GDP पीछे जाता है and this is the new equilibrium. ये देखो. इधर price is high. ये देखो. Price high हो जाता है, output कम हो जाता है. देखो N से N1 पीछे आ गया. So when you draw the diagram, that only you have to be careful. What are you showing? You are showing that economic growth is less. How you will show economic growth is less? Because N has become ON1. ये देखो आप. So we will draw the diagram. Children, I will add one slide and we will draw the diagram. Take a notebook. आवाज बनाता है. Children, don't make noise. We are going to draw the diagram. Okay, what are we going to draw? Stagflation. Draw along with me in a notebook. X and Y. Here we are marking price. Here we are marking real national income. ये तो ऊपर आता है, इसको नीचे देखेगा इधर. real national income. Real national income means, can just put a okay, now no place, so I am writing this is real national income. Now first what we are drawing, अब देखो इधर, we will be drawing aggregate supply. देखो aggregate supply. ये देखो, this is aggregate supply and aggregate demand में अलग कलर से draw करते हैं. This is aggregate demand. Draw along with me. This is the equilibrium. दोनों कट होता है. Bring it down. This is ON. This is OP. This is the price level, OP. Aggregate demand is equivalent to aggregate supply. This is the equilibrium. ON is the real national income. OP is the price. Abhi dekho, this is the crucial thing. I am using alag color so that it will be clear to you. Use this. Aggregate supply shift to back. AS1 पीछे जाता है, देखो, this is very crucial. And ADF remains the same. So इधर क्या होता है? This is a new equilibrium E1. Bring it down. N1. This is P1. What does it show, children? Here you have to be careful. ये देखो, output कम हो गया, price बढ़ गया. Okay, price is increasing, output decreases. This is stagflation. It is very clear in the diagram. Pala ON da, ये देखो, this has become ON1. Pala price OP da, it has become OP1. So tell me, children, what is stagflation? What did you understand? Stagflation has three characteristics. Even we can say four. What are the three characteristics, children? Which is the first one? What is happening to price? Answer nahi bola. What is happening to price? आवाज किधर गया? जब नहीं चाहिए आवाज आएगा, जब चाहिए आवाज नहीं आएगा. Tell me. What is
Price increasing.
Very good. Price is increasing. GDP or output is decreasing. Correct. Output is decreasing and economic growth is also decreasing. So we are again, आपके लिए confusion avoid करने के लिए I am writing price is increasing, GDP, that is the output. It is decreasing, unemployment is increasing. These are the three characteristics of stagflation. It is very, very important. Now let us go here. What are the causes of stagflation? We are finding out the causes of stagflation. First one is supply side. आपने देखा ना इधर सप्लाई को क्या हुआ? This is the supply side है, देखो. आपको देखो supply become less. इधर डाला है already arrow. So the main reason for stagflation is supply is becoming less. 1 minute. अपने आप unmute करेगा. Yes, supply is becoming less. When supply become less and the price increases and the economic growth is also less. Then cost push factors. Here you have to be a little careful. What do you mean by cost push? Generally, cost of production mean many factors are contributing. Cost of production. Okay, cost of production mean many factors are contributing to cost of production. What are the factors which are contributing? ये देखो, we know that सबसे बड़ा cost of production contribute करने वाला factor है labor. Okay, it is a country like India, labor is contributing 75% of the cost of production. Let us take an example. Let us assume that cost of production of a scooter is say 30,000 rupees. Cost of production of a scooter is 30,000. We know that market value of the scooter may be 50,000 or plus. So the 20,000 is the profit. I am not entering into that. A 30,000 cost में generally what is a major factor? One factor is the raw material. आपको मालूम है स्कूटर बनाने के लिए जो चाहिए वो raw material, वो one important factor है. लेकिन उससे भी ज़्यादा important factor है wages. आपको मालूम है लेबरर्स को जो wages देता है, that's the main part of the cost of production. Please remember that. So that factor, wages are increasing because there is inflation. So when the labor union is demanding more and more wages, automatically the cost will increase. ये देखो, the cost will increase. And next factor is low productivity. What do you mean by low productivity? Factor of production काम करता है, लेकिन उसका जो productivity है वो कम है. When productivity less होने पर क्या होगा? Production will be less. Production already कम है, and the prices are increasing. Automatically, this will lead to stagflation. Then देखो social benefit. What do you mean by social benefit? Social benefit means the government of many countries, they are providing lot of benefit to the, benefit to the laborers or benefit to the society. That is the meaning of social benefit. It is commonly known as social security benefit. Social security benefit. Okay. Example क्या है? Unemployment allowance, provident fund, ये सब social benefit है. जब government is giving lot of social benefit, when the supply is becoming less, what will happen, children? Government is giving lot of social benefit. लोगों के पास पैसा है, लेकिन supply become less. Automatically, price will begin to increase. What did I say? Government is giving social benefit. You will ask, madam, what is social benefit? All the foreign country, they are providing social security benefit to the citizen. Please remember. Social security benefit means a particular amount of allowance, okay, or unemployment allowance you can say, or any stimulus allowances the government is giving. Then medical benefits, all these are considered as the social benefits. So when government is giving social benefit, people का income बढ़ेगा. Okay, when income increase होने पर demand will also increase. But here what is happening? The supply become less. आपने देखा है, supply is becoming less. ये देखो. So supply is less and income is more. Automatically price will also increase. Another factor is excessive regulation. Who is doing that? When government is coming with excessive regulation, when government is coming with the excessive control, automatically, supply will be less because there's a lot of control. Government generally during war period or, when the situation is, like say COVID and all, during this pandemic period, control will be more. Because it will affect the supply. That's why government is bringing a lot of controls. When the control is more, what will happen, children? Supply will be less and the price will increase. Whichever point you are explaining, you have to remember this only. Supply is less and the price is more. This is what you have to write. And the GDP will be less. These three things you have to remember. Because that is what is known as, stagflation. Supply is less, price is more, and the growth is less. So why the growth is less? Excessive regulation. I told you, when there are a lot of regulations, when there are a lot of controls, automatically the growth will be less. Then higher taxes. ये देखो, एक के ऊपर दूसरा problems आता है. What do you mean by higher taxes? Government is increasing the tax. When government is increasing the tax, automatically what will happen? Taxes are increased, taxes are high. I told you that day, when taxes are high, disposable income will be less. What do you mean by disposable income, people? The income available after the tax. That is disposable income. Income available after tax. That is known as disposable income. So income is less and the prices are also high. Automatically, this will lead to less economic growth. Because लोगों के एक साइड तो टैक्स ज़्यादा बढ़ता है, दूसरा साइड इनकम कम हो जाता है, तीसरा साइड प्राइसेस बढ़ता है, इसलिए इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ विल बी रियली लेस. Please remember that. Then the last one is monetary shocks. What do you mean by monetary shock? Children, just wait 1 minute. Yeah, I'm explaining about monetary shocks. What type of monetary shock that an economy can have? That is what we are discussing. What type of monetary shock? ये देखो, monetary कभी-कभी क्या होता है? You are aware that monetary policy is prepared by Central Bank of the country. ये आपको मालूम है, हमने डिस्कस भी किया है. Monetary policy is prepared by Central Bank. And monetary policy, there are two monetary policy. One is the cheap monetary policy, other is the costly monetary policy. There are two monetary policy. Children, listen, take down the points. Monetary policy. One is a cheap monetary policy, other is the costly monetary policy. So, दोनों में shock होता है. Suppose the central bank follows cheap monetary policy. Cheap monetary policy में क्या होगा, children? Cheap monetary policy में 1 minute. Sure. 1 second, children. I'm just trying this other color. Cheap monetary policy में money supply will be pumped into the economy. Cheap monetary policy में money supply will be pumped because Reserve Bank is following cheap monetary policy. So ज़्यादा money supply economy में आएगा. आपको मालूम है economy is already facing inflation. Economy में already inflation ज़्यादा है, उसके साथ साथ और पैसा आता है. So inflation फिर बढ़ेगा. When inflation is more, economic growth will be less. Inflation is more, economic growth will be less. I am doubtful how far you understood. I am explaining again. Monetary shock means it depends upon what type of monetary policy government is following. Monetary policy, there are two types of monetary policy. One is a cheap monetary policy, other is the costly monetary policy. What is the cheap monetary policy? Cheap monetary policy means money supply will be more, rate of interest will be less. So government will follow an easy money policy. So more and more money will be pumped in the economy. During the period of COVID, that is what is happening. All the central banks in the world, they are pumping more and more currency. Because when they are pumping more and more money into the economy, what will happen? Already inflation ज़्यादा है, और बढ़ जाएगा, and economic growth will come down. That is known as monetary shock, because this is not expected by the people. It is suddenly done by the monetary authorities. That is why it is known as a monetary shock. We will call it as a shock when all on a sudden something is happening. Please remember that. Then one more point is there, deficit financing. वो point भी add करने का है, deficit finance. Again I am repeating, listen properly or take down the notes. What do you mean by deficit finance? Deficit finance means directly government will print the currency. Government means RBI. Central bank with the permission of the government, they will print the currency. That stage is known as deficit finance. What is deficit finance, children? Deficit finance में क्या होता है? बोलो जल्दी. What is deficit finance? लिखा है आप chat box में. Children, what is deficit finance? Right now I told you. Deficit finance means government or central bank is printing the currency. That is known as deficit finance. Government के पास power है, so they will go on print the currency. अभी कोविड का पीरियड पर ये सब हो गया है. America has printed $1 million. So many countries, correct. Government will print the currency, central bank will print the currency. You are right. So when more and more currencies are pumped or printed, वो किधर आएगा? That currency will come in the economy. Then people will get that currency. So their people का demand increase हो जाएगा because they are getting additional money. Their demand will increase. When their demand increases, what will happen? Price will also increase and the output decreases. This is known as stagflation. So while we are recapturing or okay, I will share the attendance in a minute. 1 minute, give me the time. When we are going for a recap, what are the 3 points of stagflation? Quickly bolo. What are the 3 points of stagflation? Time कम है, जल्दी बोलने का. ना chat box में लिखता है चलेगा. What are the 3 features? Thank you बोलने के लिए वो नहीं बोला. What are the 3 features of stagflation? Quick. What is the first feature? Where is your noise? Or where is your voice? Let me check. You have to give the answer. GDP. GDP को क्या होता है?
GDP.
GDP.
GDP less.
GDP कम होता है. Correct. Yes. GDP decreases. You are right. You are right, and I am very happy. So the main point is that only during stagflation GDP decreases. You are right. Then what happens to unemployment?
Unemployment it increases.
Unemployment increases and inflation also increases. You are right. Very good. So 3 features we are just again rewinding. Stagflation is characterized by economic growth become less, inflation is high, and unemployment is also high.